I woke up in his body, the man who'd stolen my life, and the first thing I did was piss on his prized Porsche. It wasn't revenge yet. That came later, when I carved my initials into the leather seats with his own pocket knife. But God, it felt like justice, tasting the bitter tang of his expensive cologne as I laughed into the downpour. Rain hammered the streets of Los Angeles like it had a personal grudge, turning the city of angels into a slick, neon-veined beast that swallowed secrets whole. I was Arabella Voss, once the sharpest needle in Silver Lake's underground tattoo scene, inking stories into skin that no one else dared tell. My shop, Ink and Shadow, was a hole-in-the-wall sanctuary for the broken and the bold, rockers hiding track marks, housewives erasing lovers' names, gangbangers turning bullet wounds into mandalas. I'd built it from nothing after my folks kicked the bucket in a freak car wreck when I was 18, leaving me with a trust fund that barely covered rent and a rage that fueled every buzz of my machine. That night, though, everything shattered like cheap glass under a boot heel. It was closing time, the clock ticking past 2 a.m., and the last client of the evening stumbled in like a ghost from my past. Her name was Lena Hargrove, blonde, Botox smooth, the kind of woman who made you feel like your thrift store boots were a crime against fashion. She was engaged to Victor Kane, the silver-tongued real estate shark who'd clawed his way from Brooklyn tenements to owning half the lofts in Echo Park. Victor and we'd been something once, back when he was just Vic, a hustling bartender with dreams bigger than his bar tab. We'd shared a ratty mattress in Koreatown, whispering about escaping the grind. But that was before he traded me for boardrooms and blow, before he left me holding the bag on a deal gone south. Lena slid onto my stool, her silk blouse unbuttoned just enough to tease, and extended her arm. "I need this covered," she said, her voice all honeyed Valley Girl, pointing to a jagged scar snaking up her forearm like a lightning bolt from hell. It was fresh, pink and puckered, the kind that screamed story untold. My stomach twisted. I'd seen scars like that before, defensive wounds from a shattered bottle, the glass embedding deep enough to need stitches. But this one? It hummed with familiarity, like an old nightmare I'd inked over 100 times. "Who did this to you?" I asked, gloves snapping on, my voice steady even as my pulse jackhammered. Clients didn't volunteer, but something in her eyes, fear, triumph, begged for it. She leaned in, breath minty with mint julep.
"Vic."
In a disagreement. He didn't mean it. Whiskey makes him handsy. She laughed, light and brittle, like wind chimes in a hurricane. "But I love him. We're getting married next month. Just make it disappear, Arabella. Something fierce. A phoenix, maybe? Rising from the ashes."
"Victor."
My Victor, wielding a bottle like a weapon against the woman he'd chosen over me. The irony burned hotter than my stencil gun. I'd heard the rumors, his temper, the NDAs stacking up like poker chips, but seeing the proof etched into her flesh? It was a gut punch wrapped in barbed wire. I traced the scar's edges with my finger, mapping the rage that had birthed it. "This'll hurt like a bitch," I warned, firing up the machine. The buzz filled the room, a mechanical heartbeat drowning out the storm. As I worked, Lena chattered about the wedding at the Griffith Observatory, the guest list bloated with Hollywood B-listers and tech bros, Victor's latest flip turning a condemned warehouse into million-dollar condos. He's a visionary, you know? Ruthless. But that's what it takes in this town. Ruthless. The word lodged in my throat like a fishbone. I knew ruthless. I'd tasted it when Vic framed me for embezzling from his first big deal, back when we were partners in a shady flip of a Venice Beach duplex. I'd trusted him with the books, and he'd cooked them, planting evidence that sent me to county for 6 months on fraud charges. "For us," he'd whispered as the cuffs clicked. "Gotta take the heat off the operation." I'd done the time, kept my mouth shut, emerged with tattoos of my own, cuffs around my wrists, a noose of thorns at my throat, as badges of survival. He'd risen like cream, while I scraped by inking regrets. The phoenix took shape under my needle, wings unfurling in crimson and gold, flames licking the scar's edges without mercy. Lena winced but held still, her eyes glazing over with that masochistic glow some women get from pain. "You're a wizard, Bella," she murmured. "Vic said you'd fix it. He still talks about you, you know. Says you're the one who got away." The lie stung, but I pressed harder, the ink blooming like blood under skin. By dawn, it was done, a masterpiece masking monstrosity. She paid in crisp hundreds, slipped out into the gray light, and I was alone with the echo of the rain and a seed of something dark germinating in my chest. That seed sprouted 2 weeks later, on the eve of their engagement party. I'd been invited. Victor's olive branch, a gilded invite delivered by courier, all embossed script and false nostalgia. "Can't build an empire without honoring the foundations," it read. Bullshit. I knew it was Lena's doing, her way of flaunting the scar I'd buried. But I went because in LA, grudges are currency, and I was cashing in. The party was at Victor's penthouse atop the Eastern Columbia building, that turquoise Art Deco relic turned billionaire bunker. Valet took my beat-up Civic like it was a joke, and I ascended in a glass elevator, watching the sprawl below pulse like a migraine. Inside, it was a circus of excess. Champagne flutes clinking like ice in a tumbler, influencers posing for stories, a string quartet mangling Nirvana covers. Victor held court by the infinity pool, his Armani suit hugging a frame gone soft from steakhouse lunches, that shark smile flashing under the city lights. He spotted me across the room, excused himself from a cluster of suits, and sauntered over. Arabella Voss, still wielding that needle like Excalibur. His cologne hit me first, sandalwood and sin, followed by the weight of his hand on my shoulder. Up close, he looked every inch the kingpin, salt and pepper at the temples, eyes like polished obsidian. "Someone's got to keep the monsters at bay," I replied, sipping the flute a server pressed into my hand. Bubbles bit my tongue, sharp as regret. We bantered, the old rhythm kicking in despite the years, inside jokes about dive bars and bad decisions. But underneath, it simmered, the unspoken ledger of betrayals. Lena materialized then, radiant in emerald silk, her arm looped through his. The phoenix peeked from her sleeve, a secret wink. "Thank you again," she purred, air-kissing my cheeks. "It's healing so beautifully." The night blurred into toasts and tango, Victor pulling me onto the makeshift dance floor, his breath hot against my ear. "Miss this fire in you, Bella. Lena's sweet, but you're the storm." His fingers grazed my waist, possessive, and for a split second, I let myself remember the boy who'd promised forever. Then the twist. A server bumped me, spilling red wine down my dress in a crimson cascade. "Clumsy fuck," Victor snarled, shoving the kid hard enough to send him sprawling. The room froze, laughter dying like a struck match. Victor's face twisted, red, vein-throbbing, and he grabbed a bottle from a passing tray, hefting it like a club. I saw it coming, the arc of glass toward the server's skull, and something primal snapped. "Vic, no." I lunged, my body a shield, the bottle shattering against my arm instead. Shards bit deep, blood welling hot and immediate. The scar was instant, a mirror to Lena's, jagged and accusatory. The party erupted in chaos. Screams, flashes from phones, Victor's feigned horror as he dropped to his knees beside me. "Jesus, Bella, I'm sorry." But I saw the flicker in his eyes. Calculation. He'd meant to swing at me, not the kid, punishing the reminder of our past. Lena hovered, pale, her phoenix arm clutched to her chest. As paramedics swarmed, Victor leaned close, whispering, "This stays between us. For old times." I nodded through the haze of pain, but inside, the seed exploded into a bonfire. He'd marked me twice now, once with prison bars, once with glass. And in that moment, staring at the twin scars, I made a vow I'd become the ghost in his machine, unravel him thread by thread. The ER stitched me up under fluorescent buzz, 18 neat black loops like a noose. Discharge papers in hand, I stumbled into the dawn, arm throbbing in sync with my heartbeat. Back at the shop, I stripped to the waist, tracing the fresh wound in the mirror. It mocked me, a twin to Lena's, a badge of his volatility, his control. I fired up the machine, inked over it myself, a raven, wings spread in midnight black, eyes like Victor's, staring back with accusation. Pain was my canvas now, and revenge, my masterpiece. Words spread fast in LA's underbelly. By noon, my phone was blowing up, gossip rags sniffing for scandal, old clients offering sympathy ink sessions. Victor texted, "Let me make it right. Dinner?" I deleted it, but curiosity gnawed. That night, I drove to his office in downtown, a gleaming tower of glass and greed. Security waved me up, perks of being the ex who took a bottle for the team. He was alone in the corner suite, city lights framing him like a king on a throne. Bourbon swirled in a crystal tumbler, ice clinking softly. "Bella," he said, rising, concern creasing his brow like bad Botox. "The scar fuck I owe you." We talked, or rather, he monologued about amends, about how Lena was fragile, how the swing was a reflex from his rough edges. I nodded, playing the wounded bird, until he poured me a drink. "To surviving," he toasted, clinking glasses. The bourbon burned smooth, laced with something metallic under the oak. My vision swam, edges blurring like watercolor in rain. "What did you?" Words slurred, limbs heavy as lead. He caught me as I slumped, his laugh low and triumphant. "Truth serum, sweetheart. Old recipe from my Brooklyn days. Time we cleared the air." He propped me in a chair, his face inches from mine, breath reeking of vice. "You think I don't know you've been digging? Asking around about that Venice flip? The books I cooked." Panic clawed my throat, but my body betrayed me, locked in limbo. He paced, unburdening like a confessor gone rogue. "I had to, Bella. You were sloppy, too honest for the game. That 6 months? It bought me time to pivot, to become this." He gestured to the skyline, his empire. "But Lena, she's the wild card. Found out about you, about us. That's why the bottle. She goaded me, said you'd crash the party. I aimed for the kid to scare you off, but you, always the hero." Lena. The betrayal doubled a knife twist. She'd known, orchestrated the wine spill, the swing, her scar a rehearsal for mine. Victor leaned in, eyes gleaming. "Now, you'll forget this chat. Wake up thinking it was a dream. And if you don't, well, I've got friends in low places." Darkness swallowed me, but not before his parting shot. "You're still mine to break." I woke in my own bed, arm bandaged, head pounding like a bad hangover. No cops, no headlines, just a vague ache and Victor's text, "Rest up. Oh, you big." Was it a dream? The serum's haze lingered, but the raven tattoo pulsed real enough. I called in sick, spent the day scouring forums, old contacts, anything on truth serums, black market chems. Turns out, Vic's recipe was real. Scopolamine, devil's breath, smuggled from cartel routes. It stripped inhibitions, implanted fog. But one side effect? Rarely, it triggered glitches, memories bleeding wrong, realities swapping like bad acid. That glitch hit me 3 days later, mid-session with a client, a burly ex-Marine wanting a full-back eagle. The needle hummed, but my reflection in the mirror warped. My face flickered, then stabilized into his. Victor's. Sharp jaw, cold eyes. I dropped the machine, ink splattering like blood. The client bolted, thinking I'd OD'd. Alone, I stared. Not a hallucination. I was in him, body swapped, courtesy of whatever dark pharmacopoeia Vic had dosed me with. My hands, his hands, flexed, veins mapping power I didn't earn. My voice, his voice, rumbled low. "What the fuck?" Panic surged, but so did power. I was Victor Kane now, king of the castle, with his access, his alibis. Arabella's body? Slumped in my shop, probably catatonic to the world. No one would question it. Overdose in a tattoo parlor? Tragic, but Tuesday. I rifled his desk, found the serum vial, half empty. Experimental shit from a shady pharmacologist in Tijuana, meant for interrogations, but with unpredictable synaptic echoes. Body swaps. The ultimate betrayal's gift. become your enemy to destroy him. I laughed, his laugh, booming and cruel, and plotted. First, secure the shell, call his assistant, cancel meetings, feign flu. Then, slip into Arabella's life, tie up loose ends. But revenge? That started small. I drove his Porsche to the shop, top down, wind whipping like freedom, and parked crooked across the curb. Inside, my old body lay curled on the floor, breathing shallow. I hoisted it myself into the passenger seat, drove to his penthouse, dumped me in the guest room, locked the door. Let the world think Arabella Voss had ghosted after a bender. As Victor in Arabella's skin, I played the part, texted clients' cancellations, hit the pharmacy for migraine meds. But in his body, I was a wolf in the henhouse. That first night, alone in his king-sized bed, sheets like silk over skin that wasn't mine, I touched the scar on my arm, now his, but inked with the raven. It itched a reminder. I rose, padded to the balcony, overlooked the sprawl. LA glittered below, oblivious. Victor's phone buzzed. "Lena, where are you?" Party was lit. "Miss you." I typed back, his thumbs flying. "Tied up. Be there soon." But first, the piss on the Porsche. Pure spite, steaming in the garage shadows. Then the knife, his monogrammed beauty from Tiffany's, slicing VK into the seats, deep enough to scent the leather with ruin. It was petty, yeah, but God, it centered me. This body was a weapon now, and I wielded it like the needle I'd lost. Dawn broke over the Hollywood Hills like a hangover you couldn't shake, smog hazing the sun into a guilty smear. I spent the morning in Victor's skin, nursing Arabella with Gatorade and guilt trips whispered to my comatose form. The swap held, no fading back, no cosmic correction. It was permanent or close enough, the serum's glitch a one-way ticket to Hell's VIP lounge. I rifled his closets, donned a charcoal Tom Ford suit that hung like armor, and stepped into his day. Board meeting at noon, schmooze with investors by 3. Each handshake, each nod, was a landmine, his colleagues eyeing me like I was off-script, but chalking it to the flu. "Victor, you look peaked," drawled Marcus Hale, his right-hand man, a weasel in bespoke wool with a Rolex that screamed new money. We were in the conference room, floor-to-ceiling windows framing the 101 freeway's crawl. Spreadsheets glowed on screens, projections for the latest flip, a Koreatown high-rise gutted for luxury urban living. Numbers danced, profits in the 8 figures, built on evictions and eminent domains strong-arming. Long night, I grunted in his baritone, sinking into the leather chair. Truth was, I'd barely slept, haunted by the mirror's betrayal. His face staring back, mine buried somewhere in the neural folds. But power? It coursed like adrenaline, hot and heady. I scanned the docs, spotting the skeletons Vic buried. Kickbacks to city council, shell companies laundering cartel cash. The Venice flip? Just the appetizer. This man wasn't ruthless. He was a cancer, metastasizing through LA's veins. The meeting dragged, jargon flying like buckshot. ROI, cap rates, NIMBY bullshit. I played along, nodding at the right beats, but my mind raced ahead. Revenge wasn't a sprint. It was a siege. Step 1, isolate. After the pitch, I pulled Marcus aside. "Lena's been off. Dig into her calls last month. Discreet." He blinked, surprised. Vic trusted no one with his bride, but complied. Seeds planted. By afternoon, I was Victor Kane, power lunching at the Ivy, schmoozing a venture capitalist named Trent over Cobb salads and Cabernet. Trent was old money, East Coast polish, funding Vic's vision with strings attached. "Heard about the party scuffle," he said, forking arugula. "You okay?" Arabella Voss. Wild card, that one. My fork paused, heart slamming. Water under the bridge. "She's resting." "Resting in your penthouse, you smug prick, while I wear your boss's skin." We sealed a deal. Another tower, this one in Boyle Heights, displacing a community garden I'd inked murals for back in the day. Signing the papers felt like spitting on my own grave, but it bought time, access to the ledgers. Evening fell sticky and electric, thunder rumbling distant over the Pacific. I slipped away from a gala at the Getty, black tie, champagne toast to progress, and drove to the shop. Ink and shadow loomed dark, my neon sign flickering like a dying pulse. Stories inked, secrets kept. Inside, the air hung heavy with antiseptic and regret. I flipped the lights, the buzz of fluorescence welcoming me home. My old body, Arabella's shell, waited upstairs in the loft, for drip I'd rigged from Vic's med kit, keeping it hydrated. I sat beside it, brushed sweat-damp hair from my forehead. "Hang in there, me," I whispered. "We're just getting started." The plan crystallized then, scrawled in a burner notebook. Expose the empire, brick by brick. But Lena, she was the linchpin. Her betrayal wasn't passive, it was engineered. That scar?
No accident.
Digging through Vic's phone, password, our old anniversary, the bastard, I found the texts. "Make it hurt, baby. Show her who's queen." Sent the night before the party. Lena, goading him into the swing, knowing it'd ricochet to me.
Why?
Jealousy, sure, but deeper. A secret she'd unearthed, one Vic had buried with me in county. Flashback hit like vertigo. 6 months in Linwood. The women's lockup, a concrete purgatory of clanging gates and whispered deals. I'd kept my head down, inked crude tats on the yard for commissary smokes. But one night, a guard slipped me a note. Ask about the baby. My blood ran cold. Vic and I had a miscarriage early on. 8 weeks, a ghost pregnancy lost to stress and street food. I'd buried it, but the note hinted more. Vic's seed, planted elsewhere? Rumors swirled in the yard. His side hustle with escorts, a lost heir, hushed with payoffs. Lena knew. That's why the wedding rush, the NDAs. She was locking down the throne, eliminating rivals, me, the ex with claims. The scar was her trophy, my twin a warning. Fury boiled, but I channeled it. Tomorrow, confront her. As Victor. She arrived at the penthouse at 9, key turning soft in the lock. I lounged on the sectional, bourbon in hand, city lights painting her in blue.
Beak.
You look like death warmed over. She kicked off Louboutins, padded over in yoga pants and a tank, the phoenix flexing on her arm. Rough day, love. I patted the cushion, voice velvet over gravel. She curled against me, head on shoulder, oblivious. Tell me about Arabella. The real story. She stiffened, then played coy. What, the tattooed chick? Ancient history. Her scar matches yours. Coincidence. I traced her ink, needle-calloused fingers, mine in his hands, gentle but probing. Lena pulled back, eyes narrowing. Jealous? It's cute. She got in the way at the party. You were pissed, I just encouraged. Encouraged a swing? I let anger color his tone, just enough to hook. What if you'd taken the hit? She laughed, sharp as shattered ice. I'd have worn it better. Besides, it's done. She's out, probably tweaking in some alibi now. Venom dripped, and there it was, the mask slip. Not love, possession. But if she resurfaces, we handle it. Together. The we hung, a pact forged in shadows. I kissed her then, his lips on hers, tasting mint and malice, and she melted, clueless. As she showered, I hacked her phone, Vic's biometrics golden. Paydirt, emails to a PI digging my prison stint, the miscarriage records. And deeper, a clinic file, dated last year. Termination, 12 weeks. Father, V. Kane. Her secret shame, weaponized against me. She'd aborted his kid to climb, then torched the bridge. Rage crested, but I banked it. Phase 2. Turn the knife. I texted Marcus from her phone, meet me.
Urgent. Big's dirty.
Anonymous drop, the Venice ledgers, scanned and sent. Let the rats eat each other. Sleep evaded, tangled in Egyptian cotton that smelled of him. Dreams bled. My body convulsing, Vic's soul clawing back. I woke sweating, checked the loft. Arabella's form still, but eyelids fluttering. A sign? Or death's whisper? Dawn brought decisions, controversial ones, the kind that keep you up arguing with ghosts. Do I frame Lena for the embezzlement, let her rot in my old cell? Or deeper, expose Vic's cartel ties, burn the empire and everyone in it? Innocents would fall. Workers, families displaced. But justice? It wasn't clean. It was a street fight, elbows and eyes. By 10, I was in his office, recovering with black coffee. Marcus arrived, slick with cologne and suspicion. Boss, what's this about Lena? She's skimming. I lied smooth, sliding forged docs, photoshopped in the shop's backroom. Vic's signature, my forgery masterpiece. Diverting to offshore. Wedding jitters, maybe. Handle it quiet, freeze her accounts, tip the feds anonymously. He paled, loyalty cracking. You sure?
She's.
Family. Family's the first to betray. The line landed, a gut punch from my own history. He left nodding, the wedge driven. Afternoon blurred, calls to investors, spinning delays on the Boyle Heights deal, regulatory hiccups. Lies stacked like Jenga, precarious but thrilling. Lena called thrice, voice therapy, miss you. Dinner? I demurred, business. Truth, scouting the pharmacologist. A burner search led to a strip mall clinic in East LA, neon cross flickering over a Botanica front. Inside, incense choked the air, shelves crammed with saints and scopolamine proxies. The doc, Dr. Ruiz, wiry with jailhouse tats, eyed me wary.
Kane.
What? Serum, not enough. He knew Vic, the supplier. Glitch, I growled.
Swap.
Fix it. He chuckled, yellow teeth flashing.
No fix. Synaptic lock permanent echo.
You're him now.
Or he's you.
Quantum bullshit. He shrugged, quoted a price for more vials. Antidotes, maybe, or amplifiers. I paid in Vic's cash, pocketed too. Insurance. Back home, Lena waited, candles lit, steak sizzling. Romance, her apology for the texts I'd glimpsed. We ate on the balcony, city humming below. You're distant, she said, wineglass twirling. The scar thing. It bothers you? Everything bothers me. I met her gaze, his eyes cold. Like knowing you paid a PI to dig my dirt. Arabella's. Her fork clattered.
Color drained. Beak, E.
Save it. I slid the printouts across. Clinic file, termination stamped. Our kid or mine? Tears welled, but fury flashed first. It was yours, you prick. But you were building empires, fucking the past. I chose us. She lunged, nails raking my cheek. Blood beaded, hot. I grabbed her wrists, pinning, the phoenix mocking between us. You chose power, I hissed. Like me, but power betrays. She twisted free, backing away. What are you? The ghost you made. The line hung, too cryptic, but she fled anyway, door slamming like a guillotine. Alone, I'd bandaged the scratches, stared at the raven scar. Controversial? Hell yes. Exposing her meant outing the miscarriage, dragging Vic's sins public. But the twist brewed. What if the baby wasn't his? The PI's notes hinted a donor, anonymous seed from a clinic mix-up. Lies upon lies. Night deepened, storm breaking. Marcus called. Feds on the line. Lena's accounts flagged, embezzlement. Chaos inbound. I smiled into the lightning, thunder my applause. But in the loft, Arabella's eyes opened. Mine, staring vacant. The swap whispered. Whose soul was fraying? Lightning forked the sky like cracked porcelain, illuminating the penthouse in strobe flashes that turned shadows into accusations. Lena's exit left a vacuum, her perfume lingering like a threat. I poured another bourbon, Vic's favorite, Woodford Reserve, double-barreled arrogance, and paced the marble floors, the city below a glittering indictment. The feds were circling. Marcus's tip a flare in the night. But escalation? That was my cue. I needed leverage, the kind that didn't just wound but eviscerated. The cartel ties, Vic's dirtiest secret, laundered through construction loans from Sinaloa shadows. I'd seen the manifests in his safe, shipments of tile, masking product, endpoints in his flips-turned-trap houses. Morning brought federal heat, suits in the lobby, badges flashing like bad omens. I met them in the conference room. Vic's lawyer, a shark named Ellis, flanking me. Mr. Kane, routine inquiry. The lead agent drawled, a Fed named Ramirez with LAPD crossover ink on his knuckles. Embezzlement flags on an associate. Ms. Hargrove. I leaned back, projecting Vic's Teflon calm. Lena? She's clean. Wedding stress, maybe creative accounting. Lies flowed easy, his cadence my script. They pressed shell companies, offshore wires, but I stonewalled, Ellis interjecting legalese like buckshot. By noon, they left with warrants pending, but not before Ramirez's parting shot. Heard you like your serums experimental, Kane. Careful what you dose. Chills spidered my spine. They knew, or suspected. Vic's reach extended, but so did his rot. I bolted the office, drove erratic through gridlock to the Botanica. Ruiz was gone. Shop gutted, saints scattered like fleeing parishioners. Cartel cleanup? My doing indirectly. Panic gnawed, but I pivoted. Arabella's contacts. In her loft, my body stirred more. Fingers twitching, lips mumbling Vic's name. Soul bleed, Ruiz had called it. Time was eroding. I hit the streets as her. Hoodie up, arms slung, blending into Silver Lake's hipster haze. The tattoo circuit buzzed with whispers. Vic's empire cracking, Lena ghosting post-fight. At a dive called the Black Cat, I cornered Tito, an old client-turned-fixer, nursing a PBR under neon claws. Need dirt on Kane. Cartel flavor. Tito eyed the sling, suspicious. You look like shit, Bella. Vic's goon's been around. Worse. He's me now. The confession spilled, half mad, but Tito bought it, eyes widening at the raven scar, my tick of tapping the needle like a lighter. He slid a USB. Burner drops. Use it wise. Back in the penthouse, USB decrypted on Vic's Mac. Manifests, wire transfers, photos of meetings in abandoned lots, Vic shaking hands with ghosts in Guayaberas.
Goldmine.
But the twist, Lena's face in one, blurry but unmistakable, handing off a briefcase. She played both sides, Vic's queen and the cartel's canary. Betrayal cubed. I uploaded to a dark web drop, anonymous ping to Ramirez. Kane skeletons. Hargrove, too. Then, the controversial call. Tip the press. TMZ would feast, but innocence? The Boyle Heights tenants, already evicted, would riot. Vic's blood on my hands. Or his. Semantics in a swap. Lena resurfaced at dusk, pounding the door, mascara rivers on porcelain cheeks.
Beak.
Let me in. I cracked it, his face a mask of weary fury. You're toxic, I said, blocking. The feds? You're doing? She shoved past, wild-eyed.
No.
Marcus, he's flipping, saying I skimmed. But it's you, isn't it? The serum. You dosed me last week at the gala. I remember flashes. Your voice in my head. Arabella's rage. Her eyes locked, seeing through? What the fuck are you? The glitch echoed, synaptic bleed, souls swapping whispers. She tasted it too, a partial hit. I'm the reckoning, I admitted, dropping the act. You goaded him to scar me like yours. Framed me for your sins. The baby? Not even his. She recoiled, then lunged. Nails again, but I sidestepped, his body agile with my instincts. We grappled, crashing into the Eames table, glass shattering like the bottle at the party. She screamed. It was ours. The clinic mixed donors, your ex's cycle, harvested wrong. I carried your ghost. The world tilted. Miscarriage? Not lost to fate, but stolen. Embryos swapped in Vic's pay-to-play fertility racket, his investments, in clinics laundering more than cash. Lena had discovered, terminated to bury it, scarred herself to bind him in guilt. I'd borne the prison for that, his cover for the egg heist, embryos sold to the elite. Betrayal's abyss. You bitch, I snarled, pinning her. You knew, and let me rot. Mercy kill, she spat. Vic would have erased you permanent. I saved you for this? Her laugh broke, hysterical. End it then. Be him. Temptation clawed. Push her over the balcony. one suicide in the saga. Controversial? Murder in self-defense? Or just vengeance? But sirens wailed distant. Feds closing. I released her, gasping.
Run.
Or join the fall. She fled into the storm, heels splashing puddles. I barricaded, checked the loft. Arabella's body convulsing now, seizures rippling. Vic's soul fighting back? I dosed it with Ruiz's antidote vial. Bitter blue liquid down the throat, praying separation. Night devolved, press vans swarming the tower, headlines screaming Kane empire crumbles, cartel links exposed. Marcus called, frantic. Boss, it's over. Feds raiding the sites. I hung up, torched the safe's remnants. Deeds to flames. Climax brewed. The wedding tomorrow, Griffith Observatory. Public unraveling. I attended as him. Tux crisp, face bruised from our tussle. Guests milled under the stars. Telescopes pointed heavenward like futile prayers. Lena waited at the altar, white gown ethereal, phoenix hidden.
Novik, nora vaya, justa cuas.
Vows echoed hollow. In sickness, in empire's fall. Mid-ceremony, Ramirez crashed the party, sweat shadows, choppers whirring overhead. Victor Kane, Lena Hargrove, you're under arrest. Chaos erupted, gasps, stampede, flashes popping like gunfire. I stood frozen as cuffs clicked on us, but slipped the noose, his body my camouflage. I melted into the crowd. In the getaway Civic, retrieved from valet hell, rain-lashed, wipers slashing judgment. The antidote worked partial. In the rear view, my face flickered back. Arabella's, scarred and scarred.
Big soul.
Ejected or dormant. The observatory receded, sirens fading. But the twist loomed, a shadow in the storm. The Civic hydroplaned through Mulholland's curves, tires singing on wet asphalt, LA's lights smearing into abstract fury below. My face, mine again, Arabella Voss, sharp cheekbones and kohl-rimmed eyes, stared back from the dash cam, but the scars overlapped, Raven on one arm, Phoenix peeking from the other. Vic's ghost lingered, a psychic aftertaste, his baritone echoing in my thoughts. You think you won? The antidote had severed the swap, but not the bleed. Memories fused, his cunning seeping into my veins like bad ink. Feds swarmed the news feeds, choppers live streaming the observatory takedown. Victor Kane, disheveled in Tuck's tails, snarling at cameras as agents wrestled him down. Lena, gown torn, shrieking innocence, her phoenix arm flailing like a flag of surrender. Tycoon and fiancé busted in cartel sting, embezzlement, trafficking ring exposed. My anonymous drops had detonated, the USB's poison spreading viral. Marcus flipped full, spilling to save his hide. Ruiz's Botanica raided, serum seized as designer drugs. The empire crumbled in real time, foreclosures hitting, investors bailing like rats from the 101. But victory? It tasted like ash and adrenaline, the high of a fresh tat followed by the sting. I'd reclaimed my skin, but at what cost? Boyle Heights burned on feeds, tenants torching the half-built tower in protest, flames licking the night like my revenge. Innocence displaced, dreams gutted. Controversial decisions haunted. The tip that ignited it all, dooming families for one man's fall. Was I avenger or arsonist? I ditched the Civic in a Koreatown alley, wiped for prints, and hoofed it to ink and shadow. The shop stood sentinel, neon humming defiant. Inside, the loft waited. Empty now, my body returned. Vic's soul evicted to his own flesh, rotting in cuffs. I collapsed on the futon, arm throbbing dual scars, and let the sobs come. Raw, ugly, the kind that carve deeper than needles. Dawn crept gray, coffee brewing bitter as regret. Phone exploded. Clients worried, reporters sniffing. I ignored, focused on cleanup. Tito texted, ghosted good. PI says Lena's singing, your name dropped.
Panic spiked.
The miscarriage, the swap, she'd weaponize it, paint me conspirator. But Twist's shadow loomed. The clinic file. I'd glimpsed it in Vic's safe before torching. Embryos not just swapped, but mine. Harvested post-miscarriage without consent, Vic's insurance sold to elites. Lena's termination? Her carrying my potential, erased to bury the theft. I'd borne prison not for fraud, but for his baby black market. The truth inverted. I wasn't victim alone. That ghost pregnancy had birthed a shadow industry, Vic's rise funded by stolen futures. Lena? Complicit, but cornered, her scar self-inflicted, a cry for control in his chaos. Betrayal's web tangled all, no clean blades. Cops knocked at noon, Ramirez, solo. Badge casual. Ms. Voss? Word is you, and Kane go way back. He eyed the raven, piecing scars. Way back's an understatement. I brewed him coffee, played cagey. He dosed me. Truth serum shit. Woke up. Not me. Ramirez leaned in, no judgment. Glitch? We got vials from the doc, scopolamine hybrids. Hallucination standard, but swaps? New. He slid a card. If you remember more.
Call.
Lena's lawyered up, pointing fingers. Says you orchestrated.
He nodded, gut twisting.
Controversial. Testify. Drag the embryo ring public? Destroy more lives, clinic moms, donor ghosts, or let it fester. I'll think. He left, and I inked. Over the phoenix, Lena's echo on my skin. A mirror raven, wings entwined.
Duality. Power.
Weeks blurred. Shop reopened, clients trickling, whispers fading. Vic's trial loomed. Rico charges, life without parole. Lena plea bargained, testifying to the serums, the scars, but omitted the baby. Her silence bought freedom, a ghost wedding annulled. She vanished to Palm Springs, spa exile, last seen posting Phoenix memes.
Me?
I thrived in ruins. New clients, Fed informants needing alibis inked, displaced tenants memorializing lost homes. Rage-fueled art, tats of crumbling towers, swapped souls in ink. But nights? Miroslit, bik smirk flickering. The bleed persisted, his cunning sharpening my edge. Had I become him? Or freed us both? Climax crested 6 months on arraignment day, courthouse steps mobbed. I slipped in back row, hoodie low. Vic shackled, gaunt in orange, eyes scanning, locking on me. Recognition flashed, soul deep. You. His lips curled, whispering to counsel. Lena testified, voice steady. He broke me. The scar. Self-defense. Lies polished, but her gaze slid to me. Apology? Warning? Then the twist. Prosecution star witness, a clinic nurse, took the stand. Kane's fertility investments, illegal harvesting. One donor, Arabella Voss, miscarried but tissue harvested post-mortem. Sold to clients, including.
Pause.
Ms. Hargrove. She carried Voss's embryo, terminated to cover. Court gasped, cameras whirring. Bik lunja, chains rattling, beat. Guards swarmed. Lena crumpled, truth inverting. Villain to victim, her abortion not sin but erasure of my line. She'd borne my ghost, scarred to forget. Vic's eyes met mine across the chaos. Defeat, but glee. We're the same now, he mouthed. The bleed surged, his laugh in my throat. I bolted outside, rain starting anew, courthouse a blur. Controversial end, justice served, but debatable. Did I win? Empire dust, scars eternal. Or by tragic, Vic caged, but his darkness mine? Lena free, but hollow, my shadow in her womb. Back at the shop, needle humming, eyeing to client, a phoenix raven hybrid, rising fractured. Story, he asked. Revenge, I said. The kind that haunts. L.A. pulsed on. Angels fallen but flying.
Me?
Arabella Voss, scarred twice over, twice born. The hook? I'd tattoo over it all eventually. But some wounds? They tell the best tales.